This episode of the Y-Files is brought to you by Factor.
In 1972, 3 hikers discovered a hidden room carved into a wall of Chaco Canyon. The New Mexico desert was well over 100 degrees. Inside the cavern, the temperature was a comfortable 72. Artifacts were everywhere: pottery, tools, weapons. Experts dated everything to the 8th century. Every item except one. A compass-like object covered in symbols nobody recognized, made from an alloy that wouldn't exist for another 1,000 years. Within 48 hours, the National Security Agency seized the site. They called it Project Ancient Arrow. The NSA studied the room for months, then sealed it. 21 years later, a cave-in revealed the truth. This wasn't just a room, it was an entrance.
Human, quick question. How many calories are there in air?
What?
I'm just trying to make sure I don't go over my daily limit. I'm part of the Body of Atlantis Ascension Fellowship. We're a fitness collective / lifestyle paradigm / energy alignment commune. We're dedicated to nutritional transcendence. Gary says, once we achieve cellular emptiness level 2, we'll unlock vibrational purification.
That sounds like a cult.
Calm down now. Well, we're just very disciplined. We wear matching white shoes, perform synchronized breathing exercises with houseplants, and whisper our social security numbers into mason jars. And yesterday, Gary made us all sign over our possessions for spiritual cleansing. But the results speak for themselves. I can see through my own scales.
You don't look so good. When was your last meal?
Let's see. Monday I had a chia seed. Wednesday was a sniff of almond milk. And tomorrow, if I achieve Transcendence Level 4, I can have 1 pistachio. The red kind that make your lips look funny.
You need real food. Why don't you try Factor's Calorie Smart Meals?
Oh, did you just nut butter your way into today's sponsor?
I sure did. Factor has delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered right to your door. Every fresh, never-frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. Skip overpriced takeout and forget about grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious, which means more time for you. You can choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. And Factor is now owned by HelloFresh. So with a wider array of meal plans to choose from, there's certainly something for everyone. Factor is my go-to lunch solution. I actually eat it every day at the studio. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50TheY-Files to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box.
Code 50TheY-Files at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on the first box.
That's right.
Oh, it's perfect. I'll stash it under my bunk next to my matching sneakers and the power of attorney I gave Gary so he can manage my earthly distractions.
You realize you can just leave, right?
Leave? But I'm 3 hunger hallucinations away from achieving supreme emptiness. Plus, Gary says once you confound your own ribs, you earn telepathy and a cashew. Oh, crap. Meditation circle's starting. If I'm late again, they'll make me sniff bread as punishment. A whole loaf of pumpernickel, human. A whole freaking loaf.
For 21 years, the Chaco Canyon chamber remained sealed. The compass artifact was locked in a vault somewhere in Virginia. Project Ancient Arrow, like so many classified operations, gathered dust in NSA archives. By May 1994, Project Ancient Arrow was all but forgotten. But the mountain had other plans. A series of rockslides shook the canyon. The mountain seemed to be peeling back layers of itself. When the dust settled, park rangers found an opening. Not a hole, a doorway. Perfectly rectangular with sharp edges and right angles. This wasn't erosion, it was carved. The cave-in revealed a corridor that disappeared deep inside the mountain. The Rangers called it in. Project Ancient Arrow was immediately reactivated. The NSA was on site within hours.
Wow, the NSA moves faster than Uber Eats.
Receives. Fourth one.
The military cleared the area, and 5 scientists arrived to take readings and measurements. But these weren't archaeologists. They worked for the ACIO, the Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization, a subsection of the NSA. It operated beyond classified, above top secret, and without congressional oversight. Most senior NSA officials don't know it exists, and those who do don't acknowledge it. The ACIO likes it this way. Their specialty was technology that shouldn't exist on Earth, and this corridor was exactly their kind of problem. The passage spiraled upward through solid rock, not carved, melted. The walls were polished at the atomic level, covered in glowing symbols that seemed part of the stone itself. 23 chambers branched off at regular intervals. The spiral formed a perfect double helix, DNA carved in stone. Every chamber contained artifacts, paintings using pigments nobody could identify, musical instruments that created frequencies humans couldn't hear, star charts drawn from somewhere else in the galaxy. The same symbols from the corridor were in every room. Chamber 23 was different, though. No symbols, no artwork, just one artifact, a small optical disc. It looked like a CD.
What year was this?
1994.
Probably an AOL disc.
It wasn't an AOL CD.
You sure? They were everywhere.
It wasn't a CD at all. It just kind of looked like one. And scientists still assumed the disc contained digital information, but when they tried to read it, nothing worked. Lasers failed. Electron microscopes showed only a smooth surface. But under certain wavelengths of light, symbols appeared. Thousands of them, layered in 3-dimensional patterns, the same symbols that covered the walls. The ACIO couldn't decipher it. They sent the disc to Virginia for analysis. After almost 2 years of analyzing the ancient Arrow site, the scientists thought they'd found everything. Then X-rays of Chamber 23 revealed something else. A trapdoor buried under 6 inches of debris. It covered a shaft dropping straight down 150 feet. Too narrow for a person, so they lowered cameras instead.
That reminds me. I gotta schedule a colonoscopy.
Okay, that's enough.
What? Everyone over 50 should get one.
Thank you for the PSA.
Oh, yeah, that's right, fellas. Get your PSA checked too, huh?
I've got 1 paragraph left.
Fine, go ahead. Sheesh, what a grouch.
Chamber 24 was massive, 3 times bigger than any other room. 7 groups of symbols covered the wall in the most complex pattern they'd seen, but there was no way to reach it. The project stalled again. 2 years later, another discovery would show that ancient Arrow wasn't ancient at all. The discovery had nothing to do with the past. It had to do with the future. In the summer of 1996, 2 college students were hiking near Chaco Canyon, 24 years after the first ancient Arrow discovery, 2 years after rockslides had exposed new chambers. They spotted something metallic catching sunlight. Not buried, not hidden, just sitting on the ground.
1996, AOL CDs were still everywhere.
It wasn't an AOL CD.
Okay.
The object was about the size of a shoebox and heavy like lead. Its surface showed a pattern of swirled gold and silver that was a 3-dimensional map of the exact area where they stood. Strange symbols covered every inch of the object. Not carved or etched, the symbols were part of the metal itself. And as the students lifted the object from the sand, both collapsed at exactly the same time, like someone had flipped a switch. They weren't unconscious. They were inside a vision.
What, did they eat mushrooms off this thing?
No.
I was in the desert, that's right. So, they probably ate peyote.
No.
They lick a frog?
They didn't eat or lick anything. Just touching the box gave them a vision. But it gave them the same vision. A massive chamber system inside a mountain. 23 rooms in a spiral pattern. They could smell cool air and feel smooth stone under their feet. Strange symbols glowed on walls they'd never seen. They can hear footsteps echoing, their own footsteps walking through chambers that existed somewhere else. When the vision ended, both students were on their knees in the sand, gasping like they'd been underwater. The experience lasted a few seconds, but to them it felt like hours. They then wrapped the artifact carefully. Neither wanted another experience.
Yeah, nothing's worse than a bad trip, am I right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, yes you do.
Please, there are kids watching.
Yeah, right. Sorry, kids. By bad trip, I just mean, a weekend in Portland.
Be nice. Anyway, they brought the shoebox artifact to their archaeology professor. But when he touched it, nothing. No visions, no reaction. Whatever happened to his students didn't happen to him. He noted the unusual metal composition and the unknown symbols. He uploaded the findings to academic databases to see if anyone recognized this artifact. Unfortunately for the professor, somebody did. The internet was still new to most people in 1996, but it wasn't new to the NSA or its secret internal division, the ACIO. Since Ancient Arrow reopened in 1994, the ACIO had been monitoring public and private networks for certain keywords and images, unidentifiable symbols, unusual metal compositions, reports of induced visions. The professor's research triggered every alert. Within 4 hours, federal agents were in his office. They confiscated the artifact and made the professor sign a stack of non-disclosure forms. The agents added a few threats about national security, treason, and prison. Just to be clear, the object went directly to Dr. Jameson Neruda, ACIO's top linguist and technology specialist, the same man who'd been trying to decrypt the optical disc for 2 years. This artifact would show him what had been missing. The symbols weren't a language, they were instructions. The vision artifact sat on the table in Neruda's lab and did nothing. The two students had experienced vivid hallucinations, identical visions of the ancient Arrow chambers. But here in ACIO's sterile lab, the artifact was just an unusual metal object covered in symbols. Neruda understood why it didn't work. Proximity effect. The artifact needed to be near the ancient Arrow site. The location was in the swirled pattern on its surface. Only about 50 people on the planet know about this location, and he was one of them. So one puzzle solved. But Neruda was fascinated by something else. The symbols on the artifact matched symbols from the chambers. Not exactly, but close. Like different dialects of the same language. Then it hit him, and he reached for the disc. The optical disc from chamber 23 didn't look like much. About the size of a CD, but thicker. Not quite glass, not quite crystal. When ACIO's standard decryption tools failed, Neruda took over. That was almost 2 years ago. Mathematical sequences, quantum algorithms, even Zemi, ACIO's quantum computer built with alien technology, couldn't crack this thing. Zemi made the best supercomputers on Earth look like pocket calculators. Still, nothing.
Whoa.
What?
Alien technology?
Yep. The ACIO had an alliance with an alien race called the Cordium. Their home planet is 15,000 light years away. Dr. Neruda was fluent in over 30 languages, plus 12 extinct ones. He was an expert in data encryption, compression, storage. He also possessed genius-level knowledge of mathematics, quantum systems, music, philosophy, biology, and cosmology. His IQ had been enhanced through genetic modification, standard procedure for core ACIO scientists. The modifications raised intelligence by 500 points or more, all courtesy of their alien partners. Neruda repeated himself, this time out loud. Different dialects of the same language. The symbols on the artifact weren't random. They formed a sequence. When he compared them to the chamber paintings, a pattern emerged. Each painting contained one unique symbol. The artifact showed him what order to arrange the symbols. Neruda input these symbols into Zemi as ancient Sumerian words, spoken in sequence from chamber 1 to 23. Then Zemi roared to life. 8,000 pages of data flooded the processors. Text, diagrams, star maps, genetic sequences, all with translations in English and 60 other languages. Dr. Neruda had been with ACIO for 15 years. Not only was he aware of alien races on Earth, he spoke 5 of their languages. He could read 4 more. He thought he'd seen everything. He did not see this coming. The creators of the disc called themselves Wingmakers. And the Wingmakers weren't aliens. They weren't an ancient civilization. They were humans from Earth. And they were sending us a warning from 750 years in the future.
Yahtzee.
Shh. According to the disc, humanity developed time travel in the 20th century, not for exploration, for survival. These future humans were on a timeline where Earth gets invaded by synthetic beings called the Animus. The Animus were more than just machines. They were an android race with artificial intelligence driven by one obsession: to become soul carriers, to achieve immortality. But they lacked organic nervous systems, the very thing needed to carry a soul's higher frequency. So they needed our DNA, not just to reproduce, to evolve. And they didn't choose Earth randomly. We're a genetic library. Our DNA carries something rare in the universe: a full range of emotions, the key to the human soul. The Animus wanted our source code, the original blueprint of human genetics. And they'd been here before, 300 million years ago, and again about 9,000 years ago. Both times they found humans too primitive for their needs, but they were scheduled to return in 2011, and this time they'd find us useful. The timeline was specific. First, infiltration. They'd appear as friends, advanced beings here to help. They'd work with the United Nations to bring stability to Earth by creating a global governing body.
One world government?
Yep. The group is called the Incunabula.
Another word for Illuminati.
Yep. And their plan is to control the world's money supply and natural resources. These would be distributed by the Incunabula, who are android-human hybrids.
Anyone check Klaus Schwab for wires?
They would implement a paperless electronic currency that tracks the spending habits of everyone on Earth. This would give the Incunabula insight into individual affairs and allow them to manipulate global events. By 2018, the Incunabula would be running the world. But this future could be avoided. The disc explained how. What we perceive as normal biology is actually a suppressed version of our full genetic potential. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. The Wingmakers claimed we can activate 24. And here's why that mattered. The Animus can only harvest from standard human DNA, our current 23 chromosome pairs. Humans with 24 activated chromosome pairs would be useless, like incompatible software. 7 sites around the world would trigger this activation. It could be done simply through meditation. As more people meditated, dormant DNA would activate. First 2 pairs, then 4, then 12, eventually all 24. And the disc had another solution. Use time travel to stop the Animus from ever finding Earth. So humanity had 2 defenses, one biological and one technological. Dr. Neruda understood the value of both options, but ACIO's leadership was split. Half wanted to use technology, half wanted transformation. Neruda was caught in the middle, but he knew he'd have to make a choice. And the choice wasn't just about technology versus consciousness, it was about who decides humanity's future. Within ACIO operated an even more secretive unit, the Labyrinth Group. Only about 120 people knew it existed. Their leader was known only as 15. No one used real names at that level. 15 had created the Labyrinth Group with one purpose: develop blank slate technology, BST. This is time travel that could alter the past, not just observe it.
Yeah, finally they can go back and tell Fox not to cancel Firefly.
Yeah, I think they'd rather use the technology to avoid the alien invasion.
Sure. But while you're back there, kill 2 birds. Aliens and Fox executives.
With the help of the Cordian, the Labyrinth Group had been working on time travel since 1963. The Cordian provided everything: the quantum computers, the genetic modifications that gave ACIO scientists their enhanced abilities. The Cordium also warned about the Animus threat decades before the disc confirmed it. And the Labyrinth Group had accumulated wealth outside government oversight. They had more money than most small nations, all focused on time travel. Because if you can travel back and change key events, you can prevent the Animus from ever finding Earth, change the right moment in the past, and the future threat disappears. But now the Wingmakers offered a different solution: evolution through consciousness instead of technology, becoming something the Animus couldn't use instead of erasing them from a timeline. Two paths. Both claimed to save humanity. 15 saw them as complementary, use both, develop BST while activating dormant DNA, cover all bases. Dr. Neruda saw it differently. The more he learned about the Wingmakers' philosophy, the more he questioned changing the past. The Wingmakers weren't just sharing technology, they were teaching transformation. For 3 years, Neruda had translated the Wingmakers' information, the technical data, the philosophical writings, the warnings. With each translation, something changed inside him. The Wingmakers weren't just sharing information, they were selecting their spokesman, him. When he reported this belief to his superiors, the response was immediate. Psychiatric evaluation, security review. 15 decided Neruda's growing belief in consciousness-based evolution could not be allowed to spread through the ACIO. The solution was simple. Give Neruda an MRP, Memory Restructure Procedure. This would erase his memories of the Ancient Arrow Project, standard protocol for personnel who became compromised. Neruda had done these procedures himself. It was routine. Colleagues returned to work with gaps in their memories, confused but compliant. Now it was his turn. The MRP was scheduled for 3 weeks later, December 15th, 1997. He marked it on his calendar.
He put his own mind wipe in his calendar?
Yep.
Tuesday, dentist. Wednesday, mind wipe. Thursday, yoga. That guy's got ice water in his veins.
He did, but he was not going to let them take his memories. He had 3 weeks to come up with a plan. Dr. Neruda had 3 weeks before they erased his mind. He spent those weeks watching his colleagues differently. Brilliant minds trapped in a philosophy of control. Every problem required a technological solution. Every threat demanded superior firepower. The idea that humanity might transform itself through consciousness, that seemed impossible. But consciousness was the one thing the Animus couldn't harvest. Synthetic beings needed genetic material, not awareness. The Wingmakers understood this. On December 13th, 1997, during a routine shift change, Dr. Jameson Neruda walked out of the ACIO facility. No elaborate escape plan, no security breach. He understood their systems well enough to slip out during a brief surveillance gap. By the time they noticed he was gone, he'd already have destroyed his traceable implants and begun searching for someone willing to hear an impossible story. 2 days later, he made contact with a journalist named Sarah. He had a lot of information to share, and less than 12 hours before the next remote viewing sweep would find him.
Remote viewing sweep?
Oh yeah, the ACIO had a team of psychics on staff.
Yeah, of course they did.
There's so much more to this story, which is why we'll be revisiting it from time to time. Anyway, Neruda promised to tell Sarah everything about the ACIO, the Labyrinth Group, the Cordium Alliance, humanity's hidden history and potential future, but most importantly, who the Wingmakers were and what they really wanted. They weren't time travelers trying to save humanity from invasion. They were teachers. The Animus threat was real, but it served a larger purpose. Crisis forces evolution. The approaching danger would push humanity to activate dormant capabilities, not through technology, through higher consciousness. Then humans would be useless to the Animus. Neruda had 12 hours to convince Sarah, 12 hours to plant the seeds of transformation, 12 hours before the ACIO found him and took his mind. Dr. Jameson Neruda was having trouble. Finding someone to hear his story was harder than escaping. Academics wanted credentials. Journalists wanted proof.
Yeah, journalists demanding proof. I remember those days.
Journalist Sarah, he never learned her last name, was his fifth attempt. When they met in a diner outside Sacramento, he had 12 hours before the next remote viewing sweep. He gave 5 long interviews, enough to expose the ACIO, the Labyrinth Group, the Cordium Alliance. But as Neruda began talking, he realized the conspiracy wasn't the real story. The real story was transformation. Neruda explained how the Labyrinth Group approached everything backwards. They saw consciousness as a problem to overcome with better processors. They saw time as something to control rather than understand. The The Wingmakers suggested defense wasn't about building bigger weapons or rewriting history. It was about becoming unharvestable through higher consciousness. Sarah recorded everything: the technical specifications, the philosophical frameworks, the countdown to 2011. But Neruda could see her struggling with the same question everyone asked. Why should anyone believe this? He had no proof. The artifacts remained locked in ACIO vaults. The disk translations existed only in classified systems. His enhanced genetics couldn't be verified without special equipment. All he had were words, and 11 months later, those words appeared online on a Wingmakers website. But the details had changed. The hiker's discovery date shifted. Character names morphed, and the Wingmakers' teachings were now available for the low price of $17.99.
Oh, no.
The man behind the Wingmakers website called himself James. Later, he'd reveal his full identity, James Mahu from the Lyricus Teaching Organization. November 1998, 11 months after Neruda's defection, the Wingmakers website appeared online. Anonymous at first, no author, nobody taking credit, just the story of Ancient Arrow, the ACIO, and humanity's potential future, free for anyone to read. The site included Neruda's interviews, renamed Dr. Anderson in this version, and there were pictures of art from the chambers, music, Wingmakers philosophy, all available for free. Then things started changing. December 9th, 1998, Wingmakers LLC was created in Minnesota. The owner, Mark Hempel, based in Edina. A month later, subtle changes appeared on the website. The hiker's discovery date shifted from 1972 to 1996. The chamber count increased from 23 to 24. Dr. Neruda became Dr. Anderson. The changes were small, easy to miss unless you were paying attention. The transformation accelerated in 2001. March brought the first commercial product, $17.99. By the end of the year, what started as a free revelation had become a whole product line. Music CDs priced at $108.
Over $100 for a CD?
Yep.
I'm telling you, our merch is way too cheap.
No, it isn't. The website sold art reproductions, philosophy collections, complete packages with bundled discounts. James finally revealed himself through email interviews. He claimed the identity Mahunahi, a translator for the Lyricus Teaching Organization. Not from outer space, but not quite human either. He described using sensory bilocation, a technique for gathering information across dimensions. He positioned himself as a translator, not a creator. The Wingmakers' material were real. He didn't write them, he just made them accessible. But the changes kept coming. The Cordium's home planet moved from 15,000 light-years away to 15 million. Scientific details were updated to match current theories. New websites popped up: eventtemples.org, lyricus.org, sovereigntintegral.org. Each site added details to the story, and each offered more products. The original story, Dr. Neruda's, was buried under spiritual teachings and expensive merchandise. Years later, James would describe the Wingmakers' materials with a specific word. Not history, not revelation, he called it mythology. Mark Hempel remained silent. He managed the business side, while James handled mythology. Together, they transformed a conspiracy story into something else. Something less specific, something less verifiable, but something much more profitable. We've got desert canyons with secret labs, time-traveling humans warning about synthetic invaders, alien alliances, DNA activation, humanity's salvation through consciousness. The Wingmaker story has it all, and we just scratched the surface. But is any of this true? Well, the New Mexico Cultural Resources Information System contains no record of any ancient Arrow site. Over 800 archaeological projects have been documented near Chaco Canyon since 1952. Not one project mentions mysterious chambers. No museum anywhere has a single Wingmaker artifact. No peer-reviewed paper discussed the discovery. The NSA has never acknowledged an advanced contact intelligence organization. ACIO appears on no government documentation, classified or declassified.
Yeah, but if ACIO is real, they cover their tracks.
That's true, but so are the story contradictions. The Wayback Machine shows all the changes to the dates, names, locations. These aren't clarifications, they're rewrites. Then there's the money. Wingmakers LLC, registered December 1998. Free content transformed into premium products. The Wingmakers revelation had become a business model. But despite all the problems with the story and all the products for sale, the Wingmakers built a devoted following. 25 years later, there are still thousands of followers. They know the story is debunked. They don't care. Still, they report personal transformations, expanded awareness, life changes. Now, is this just a placebo effect or something more? I don't think it matters. If people are getting value for their money, I don't have a problem with it. That's why when I read that James Mahu was a fraud running a scam, I pushed back. Because a scam really all depends on your point of view. James himself called the materials mythology, not history, not journalism. Mythology. That's an important word, and probably why James chose it. Since before we had written language, we evolved through stories. Our culture from the very beginning was built on mythology. Cave paintings taught the next generation how to hunt. Tribal elders told legends that explained seasons. The stories told in religions shaped entire civilizations. Stories have always pushed humanity forward. Jules Verne wrote about submarines. We built them. Arthur C. Clarke imagined satellites. We launched them. Star Trek showed communicators and video calls, and we use those every day. The Wingmakers might be fiction, but it pointed people toward legitimate research. Epigenetics, consciousness studies, the connection between mind and matter. Thousands took up meditation, studied quantum physics. Why did they do this? Because the Wingmaker's story is powerful, and powerful stories always have a hint of truth. The chambers never existed. The artifacts were imaginary. The time travel was fantasy. But the Wingmaker's story contains one undeniable truth. We're capable of more than we know. I believe that's true. I think you do too. That's why you're here watching this show. You have questions. You have questions about what's hiding in our government, our society, on our planet, in our reality. And now that we've started asking these questions, we'll never stop. So maybe the Wingmakers never existed, but what they started, it's everywhere. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ. That's Cyclefish.
Ciao, Bella.
This has been the Y-Files. If you had fun or learned anything, do him a favor, subscribe, comment, like, share. That stuff really helps us out. And like most topics we cover in the channel, today's was recommended by you. So if there's a story you'd like to see or learn more about, go to theyfiles.com/tips. And there's a lot more to the Wingmaker story. Remember, the Y-Files is also a podcast. Twice a week, I post deep dives into the stories we cover in the channel and also post episodes that wouldn't be allowed on the channel. It's called the Y-Files Operation Podcast, and it's available everywhere. And if you're into podcasts, I'd appreciate a like or a follow or however that works. Now, if you need more Y-Files in your life, and you might not, I understand if you don't, but if you do, check out our Discord. Got over 75,000 members, so there's someone on there 24/7. They're into the same weird stuff we are. It's a great community. It's really supportive. It's a lot of fun, and it's free to join. Now, if you want to know what's going on with the Y-Files at any given time, check out our production calendar. It's theyfiles.com/cal. There we post our episode schedule, upcoming podcasts, live streams, all that stuff. And special thanks to our patrons who made this channel possible. Every episode of the Y-Files is dedicated to our Patreon members. I couldn't do this without you. And if you'd like to support the channel, keep us going, consider becoming a member on Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you get access to perks like videos early with no commercials, see your name in the credits, access to merch only available to members, plus 2 private live streams every week just for you. And the whole Y-Files team is on the stream. And you're welcome to turn on your webcam, jump up on stage, ask a question, talk about anything you want. Another great way to support the channel is grab something from the Y-Files store.
Grab a heck of his t-shirt, one of these fistable coffee mugs, and stick your fist in there. Or get one of these creepy U2 spinny U2 dolls, or a hoodie with my face on it, or something else with my face on it, or grab one of these Heckafish tugging Heckafish doll toys.
But if you're going to buy merch, make sure you become a member on YouTube. YouTube members get 10% off everything in the Y-Files store. We do a new code every month. And if you want to join for 1 month, get the code and cancel. That's totally fine.
Yeah, try not to tell anybody about that.
Those are the plugs, and that's going to do it. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you are appreciated.
In Area 51, a secret code inside the Bible said I would. I love my UFOs and paranormal fun, as well as music, so I'm singing it like I should. But then another conspiracy theory becomes the truth, my friends, and it never ends. No, it never ends. I feel the crap got stuck inside Mel's hole with MK Ultra of being only too aware. Did Stanley Kubrick fake the moon landing alone on a film set, or were the shadow people there? The Roswell aliens just fought the smiling man, I'm told, and his name was Cold. And I can't believe I'm dancing with the fish. Headfish on Thursday nights with AJ2, and Wi-Fi's happening all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. The Mothman sightings and the solar storm still come to Agatha, the secret city underground. Mysterious number stations, planet Earth 02, Project Stargate, and what the Dark Watchers found. In a simulation, don't you worry though. The Black Knight